In this video, we'll review what the artificial intelligence understood from your documents and correct anything that isn't quite right. When you ask Qamaq to bring in the memory from your document, a model reads it and extracts the statements it finds. It does a good job, but it isn't infallible, and above all, it's generous. When in doubt, it tends to include too much. And it's not just me saying it. The screen itself says so. In the By Document tab, you'll find your documents, each showing how many facts were extracted from it. At the top, in the summary line, you'll find something called the over-extraction threshold, with a number next to it. That's the limit above which the system considers a document to have produced too many facts. Take a look at the list with that threshold in mind. Almost all of them fall below it. But there's one that spikes with nearly double the count. That doesn't mean the document is wrong. It means that's where noise is most likely to occur, and that's a good place to start your review. And here's the noise. Take a look at these 4 consecutive rows. Health bands, has part, and then a different band in each one. The source document contained a list, a single sentence, that named the 4 health bands of an account. The model turned it into 4 separate facts. And notice what each one says. That there's a band called watch, and nothing more. It doesn't tell you when an account falls into it, or what you do if it does. That information is in another fact. So they aren't wrong, but on their own, they don't teach you anything. And there they stay, taking up space in your company's memory. That's why this screen exists. A memory isn't valuable because of what you put in. It's valuable because of what you leave inside. Let's remove one of those. We'll switch to the List tab, which displays the entire memory in a single list, without separating by document. Each row includes its actions on the right, which is exactly what we need. Let's look for that same fact, and we click Reject. A window opens called Reject Fact. Pay close attention to what it says, because this is important. A lot of people don't read it. Massey will stop using this fact in its answers. It doesn't say it will delete it. The fact doesn't disappear. It remains logged for auditing purposes and can be reverted. In other words, you're not destroying anything, you're simply taking it out of circulation. Below, you have an optional reason field, and the text itself suggests what to consider. Whether the fact is incorrect, irrelevant, or duplicated. It's worth writing it down, because 6 months from now, you'll want to know why someone decided this wasn't useful. We'll note that it was part of a list, not a rule. We confirm the action. Watch what happens. The row remains in place, but the status no longer says active. It now says rejected. And at the top, the active facts counter has decreased while the rejected counter has increased. There's the proof of what I mentioned earlier. The fact is not deleted. The fact remains in your memory, but it's flagged as something Massey should not use to generate responses. The opposite case, there are facts that are worth more than the model initially believed. Every fact has an importance score, ranging from 1 to 10, that was assigned by the algorithm. And this is not just a decorative label. Here's the part almost nobody knows. This score decides whether the fact actually gets used. The higher the score, the more likely Massey is to use it when generating a response. In other words, an important fact with a low score is something your company knows, but rarely ever applies. Let's look at an example from the list. This one reads, At risk band requires save plan, and it has a score of 7. When an account enters the at-risk band, a recovery plan is required. And this isn't just another data point. It's the rule that triggers the work of an entire team. With a score of 7, it can be left out of answers where it should appear. In that same row, under the actions on the right, we click Boost Importance. A window opens showing you the score assigned by the algorithm and lets you set a new one from 1 to 10, with an optional reason. We raise the score and explain why. Then we save. Notice what you just did. You didn't change the content of the fact. You changed how much weight it carries. You corrected the system's criteria without altering what it says. As you add more documents to the memory, another problem arises. 2 documents talk about the same thing, but they call it something different. As a result, the system ends up with 2 separate concepts that are actually one. You can see this in the Entities tab. Here you'll find all the things your memory talks about. Each entity comes with an explanation and the number of facts that mention it. Searching through our example, we can see one called Customer Health Score and another called Health Score. They came from two different documents, one that explains how account health is calculated and another that uses it to make decisions. But they're the same thing, and no one should have to explain why. In your account, you'll see different ones, with the names your company uses. But here's the situation. Two documents describing the same concept using different words. We select both of them, and the option to merge them appears. The important thing here is that you choose which one survives. The one that stays is marked as Survivor, and the other as Will be absorbed. All the facts from the absorbed entity are redirected to point to the surviving one, and its name is kept as an alias. That way, if someone searches for it by the old name, they'll still find it. We chose to keep Customer Health Score because it contains the complete explanation of how it is calculated. Then we confirm by clicking the Merge Entities button, and there you have it. Where there were two entities, now there is only one, combining the facts from both. And this has a safety net. Take a look at the Merges column. The surviving entity is left with an undo icon and the number of merges it has. There's an undo merge option, which returns the facts to the entity they came from and removes the aliases it had received. It's worth knowing this exists, because overmerging is worse than not merging at all. If you merge two concepts that were actually distinct, you don't just contaminate one, you instantly contaminate all the facts from both. Let's open the merged concept to view all of its facts together. And here, something happens that makes the entire video worthwhile. Look at this line that says, "Support history is weighted at 25%. Look at this other one, a few lines above. It says support tickets are weighted at 20%. It's the same component of the same score, with two different weights. And this isn't a model issue. Below each fact, you can see the exact quote from the document it came from. So there you have the two original versions, one right above the other. They came from two different documents that no one had ever placed side by side, and you can only see them together now because we just merged the two concepts. The tool didn't cause this. It was already happening between two documents that no one had ever compared directly. And it doesn't solve it for you. It puts it right in front of you. You decide which one is valid and reject the other. Just like before, except this time you're not removing noise. You're removing an outdated version that was coexisting with the correct one. And now, the question no one asks until it's too late. Is what I'm accumulating actually useful? That's exactly what the Analytics tab is for. It has 4 panels. 2 of them are useful from day one, and the other 2 become valuable over time. In the top left, you can see how importance is distributed. Look at the shape. The bulk sits in the middle, with very little above 8. This means that most of what's being extracted is knowledge of medium importance. What will really shape the answers is in the bars on the right. If one day you notice that almost everything falls into the lower range, that's a clear signal that the documents you're processing don't contain much worth remembering. Next to it, you have the status of your facts. Notice how the tool itself describes it. It answers whether Masai is storing garbage. It's rare for a product to ask that question out loud. There, you can see how many are active. And that small portion in a different color is the one we rejected a moment ago. Below, you'll see 2 panels that appear empty today, which is normal in a memory that was just built. On the left, you'll find the most used facts, the ones Macy references most often when responding. On the right are what we call zombie facts, those that have been sitting there for more than 30 days without anyone using them even once. They're empty because we just created all of this, and no one has asked anything yet. But, in a few months, that right-hand panel will be the most informative one for you. A zombie fact isn't necessarily a bad thing. It may simply be knowledge that hasn't been needed yet. However, if it starts filling up, the signal is clear. You're storing information that no one finds useful, and that makes it harder for Mazzy to find the ones that do. Your organization's memory isn't a place where you dump documents and forget about them. It's more like a new team member. It understands what you explain fairly well, but it's worth reviewing what it actually grasps, especially at the beginning. The routine is short. Every time you process an important document, take a moment to go through the list. Remove anything that's noise and boost the importance of what truly matters. Merge any concepts that have been duplicated. Just 10 minutes. Everything you did today is reversible. Rejecting doesn't delete. Merges can be undone, and an entire document can be removed and reprocessed. So don't be afraid to make corrections. Your company's memory improves when someone takes care of it, not when no one touches it.